First video. First actual video. Let's see how this goes.
Boom. Wait. I gotta do the intro first. What's going on? Oh, what do I do with my hands? Okay. What's going on, everyone? This is our first cooking YouTube video. I'm very excited. I cut up a whole chicken into each of its components and made Korean pan fried chicken. The recipe is from Chef Dookie Hong, and it's in his and author Matt Rodbard's cookbook Koreatown. Also, this was a recipe that I did stream on Twitch. I stream every Wednesday to Saturday. So if you have any questions about something that I might have missed or just anything else or any comments, be sure to come check out the channel. It's twitch.tv/jalapeno cheddar. The link will be in the description below. Let me share a little something about myself. I absolutely love spicy food. If I can and if it makes sense, I generally try to incorporate it into any dish that I'm making, even if the recipe doesn't call for it. Also, my takeout generally gets a nice helping of hot sauce to it. Alright. Let's talk about Korean food. Korean food! One reason why I love Korean food is the balance of spicy and sweet in some dishes. And this pan-fried chicken just exemplifies that. It is so good. We'll talk about it later, but it was delicious. Is that it? I think that's it. Alright, let's get started. Alright, time to prep this chicken. Okay, feel around. Everything looks good. Feels good. Yep. See, everything seems to be in the right place. Alright, let's try to look for that wishbone. Cut it into it. Feel around maybe. I don't think it's here. Couldn't really find it. Let's check the other side. Maybe. No, here we go. Oh, no, just a random piece of meat. I need to come clean. So what I'm supposed to do is debone the chicken, but that's just not happening right now, as you can see. So instead, what I'm going to do is cut the chicken up into its each individual components. Alright, so at this point, I'm abandoning all hope for being able to debone this chicken. And instead, I'm going to separate the main pieces of meat from it. So the breasts, the wings, drumsticks, and thighs. So the wings and the drumsticks were pretty easy to separate. All I did was I would just lift them up from the bird and would just cut around where the joint looked like it was gonna be. It was pretty easy, actually. Usually I got it first try. And the final pieces looked really good, especially the drumsticks. So here we go. Yeah, I just lifted it up and look for that joint and just kind of cut through it. And if I needed to, it sounds a little weird, but I would just kind of snap it back. This was actually the hardest part for me, was removing this breast right here. It was, I had to cut along a bone, and I couldn't really find the right place to start. So I'm fiddling with it right here, trying to find where to start. And I find a good spot, and I just cut along the bone to separate it. Everything kind of stays together nicely. The skin got a little messed up actually on this one. It was the one that honestly lost the most skin, but I still had some left. And then we just work on the thighs, just where the drumsticks were, and there'll be one little bone in the middle of the thigh, and I just removed those. You just kind of cut along it and then pull it apart. Sorry for the camera work. I'll try to improve. I'm gonna improve that in future videos. it's really hard to tell where I do a lot of my cuts. But yeah, this is about it. One of the things that I've never done before, and something that I learned from this recipe, was using the bones from the chicken to infuse extra flavor into a sauce that you're making. So what I'm doing right here is I'm putting all of the leftover bones onto a sheet tray, and I'm going to put them in the oven that I preheated to 450 degrees for about 30 minutes, and about 15 minutes in, I'm going to take them out and flip them over. By roasting the chicken bones and adding them to the sauce really adds an extra depth of flavor to it. Now that we prepped the chicken, we can put them to the side, clean up the area, and get to work on the sauce. This magical sauce. Alright, so you want to start out with a tablespoon of honey, 1/3 cup of soy sauce. And now here, it just depends on how you like it. So I added about 3 tablespoons of gochujang, but you can start out with 2 tablespoons, give the sauce a taste, and then adjust it by adding more. Gochujang is this wonderful Korean sauce that's spicy and sweet, and it's what's going to give this sauce its distinct flavor. To add some extra sweetness and a little bit of gloss to the sauce, 1/4 cup of corn syrup is added, and 1 tablespoon of sugar. Gochugaru, I hope I said that right, a Korean spice, was something that I was missing, but after tasting the sauce, I didn't really feel like I needed to substitute it for anything. But if you don't have it and want to substitute another spice in, you can use cayenne pepper. I personally love garlic, so I went with 3 cloves instead of 2. Also, I ended up mincing these 2 different ways. The first way, I thinly sliced up the clove and then rock chopped it into smaller pieces. The second way, I smashed the clove and then again rock chopped the clove into smaller pieces and then added it to the sauce. Another change that I made was the chili that I used. The recipe calls for a Thai bird's eye chili, but I was unable to find that at my local grocery store, so instead I used about 2/3 of a serrano pepper. After using the serrano pepper, honestly I feel that any fresh chili could work. You just want to add a little bit at a time because you don't want to set your mouth on fire. I started out with 1/2 of the serrano pepper, and then I added a little bit extra later because I didn't feel it was hot enough. This is another change that I made. I didn't have mirin, so a really good substitution for that is to mix a little bit of white wine with sugar. Next, you want to take your finger, Finally, I added 3/4 cup of water and mixed everything up and gave it a quick taste. This is the point where I added a little bit extra serrano pepper. So good, and I haven't even added the chicken bones yet. I don't know why I take this plate out. I end up seasoning the chicken in the bowl, but you want to season the chicken with salt and pepper. Oh man, look at that beautiful thigh, that wing. And then once the bones are finished, you can take them out of the oven and take a couple good pieces and put them into the sauce. And then afterwards, you want to bring the sauce up to a simmer. After you get the sauce up to a simmer, you can take it off the heat and put it to the side. Next, in a pretty decent sized pan, over medium heat, heat up some oil with a high smoke point. I use canola oil. While the oil is heating up, you can flour your chicken. By adding flour, you're going to add an extra layer of crispiness to your chicken. After the oil heats up, add the chicken to the pan. Make sure none of the pieces are overlapping. You want to make sure to lay the chicken skin side down first. Cover the chicken with foil and put a fairly heavy pot or pan on top. Now it's the little things that amaze me, and putting the foil on top of the searing chicken blew my mind, because whenever I sear meat, oil just goes everywhere. It just splatters all over the place, all over the stove and all over meat. So putting this piece of foil on top and preventing all that from happening without steaming the meat was amazing, and honestly I'll probably start doing it from now on whenever I'm doing my initial sears on steaks or chicken or really any kind of meat. I highly recommend trying it. After covering the chicken, we want to let it cook on this side for about 15 minutes. We really want to develop a crispy crust, but also make sure that we don't burn it, so we'll check on it periodically after 10 minutes. While that's cooking, the vegetables can be prepped. I followed the actual recipe for prepping the vegetables, but after doing it, it can be prepped whichever way you see fit. For the recipe, you cut yellow onion into thickish semicircles, and you take a full garlic bulb and you cut it in half. And then for the mushrooms, I went with cremini because that's what was available to me, and it was still delicious. And then cut up a scallion for garnish. After about 15 minutes and the skin's in the right place, we want to flip each piece over and cook again for 7 minutes. But let's just take a second and admire this beautiful crispy skin that we have going on here. Sizzle break. To check if the chicken's done, you can use a meat thermometer, or you can take a piece and cut into the thickest part to check if the inside's finished cooking. But after it's finished, put the chicken to the side on a separate plate and put the vegetables in the pan. You want to let the vegetables cook till they're brown. The onions and the mushroom should be soft. Oh, I love doing this part. Now we're going to take our beautiful sauce and we're going to coat the chicken with it. I luckily have a brush that I can use, but if you don't have a brush, you can just use a spoon and kind of spoon it on top. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff. Stupid. Time to plate. I just laid all the vegetables on top. I thought this would be the best way to get all the flavors to know each other. But if you don't want to do this, you can just put the vegetables around or on the side. But it's important that after you lay the vegetables out, you want to go back over them with the sauce. Oh my god, my mouth was watering at this point. Honestly, it is right now while I'm editing this video. And finally, after this, just take your scallions, just garnish the dish. And there you have it, Korean pan-fried chicken with onions, garlic, and mushrooms. Now I'm a saucy person, so I already knew I was gonna need more, so I just brought the sauce on over. Oh my gosh. I feel like I've said this enough times, but it can be said once more. The sauce just so good. Spicy, sweet, salty, just all coming together in a perfect balance. The chicken skin still crispy even though we put some sauce on top, and incredibly juicy. I really enjoyed making this dish and I definitely recommend trying it out. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.